Welcome to the show. Coming up, we have Jim Babjak. He is the guitarist and founding member of the Smithereens. The band has a new album out called The Lost Album that was recorded in 1993 when they were between record labels. Lots of great songs, and it has that 90s nostalgic feel. I think you're going to enjoy that album. Plus, we're going to talk about the old days, getting songs on soundtracks, the record business. A super fan that was Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. And plus they have more new music coming out and so much more that we're going to talk about coming right up. Wow. So is this your study or office or?
This used to be a living room and now it's, my late wife, she said, let's make it into a library. So it's a library, and I play vinyl records in here. So all that's in here it's just for reading and for listening to vinyl.
Wow. It's just so many books. Like my dad's really into books too. I try to read like some, and it's having the podcast forces me to read if I have a guest on who's written a book. But have you read all those books behind you?
That was impossible. It's impossible. I try to read through, I try to read whenever I can, but geez, I get the New York Times on the weekend and I could barely make it through that. I just, I have so many things to do. And, if I can I'm happy if I can get one or two articles in on a Saturday or Sunday morning. And I'm happy if I can get that in.
So was your wife more the reader then?
Oh, she was. Yeah.
Oh.
She was vivacious. Yeah.
When you do have a chance, what kinds of books would you want to read?
I like biographies, autobiographies. She was more into like Stephen King and stuff like that. But so yeah, and of course I have a lot of music books on bands, The Who, the Kinks, the Beatles, all that stuff.
Yeah, I find that stuff really fascinating. I love people's stories. I mean, that's why I do the podcast. I love hearing the stories of people, the journeys, how they, obviously your guys' journey is really interesting too, of course.
Life is a journey, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So tell me about this new album. It's called The Lost Album. I mean, it's aptly titled because it was basically lost for however many years, since 94. Is that when it was recorded?
93. Yeah, 93. We were in between labels. Capitol, grunge was in its stride at the time, and there was a new president of Capitol Records that decided to change things around. So anyway, being that we're survivors, the Smithereens have always been survivors. We, for the first 6 years that we got together with Pat, it took a while for us to get a record deal. So what happened here was we decided to go into the studio and record everything we have and see what we come up with and maybe put it out independently like we did our first two records in the 80s. And then we got signed to RCA in 94. So we took half those recordings and re-recorded them because these were like really good demos is what they were at these sessions. So the other half that was left over was just kind of sitting there on a DAT, and we kind of moved on, recorded other records, and toured, and it was truly forgotten and lost. And then after Pat passed away, we started looking back at our catalog of things, and we thought, this is something that our fans would love to hear because I love hearing it. Pat's voice was youthful. We were coming up with different material. So there it is. It's just there, and it might as well be heard,
So half of these songs then were on that. Was it A Date with the Smithereens?
Not of these. There was 2 albums worth of material. So,
so none of these are all totally unreleased.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Pat re-recorded 2 of the songs for his first solo record, but other than that, no. It's pretty much new to our fans and people.
Interesting. So why do you think you guys waited so long? I mean, That seems like a long time to hold on to that. I mean, that many songs.
There's more.
Oh, there's
I
more.
mean, there's a lot of stuff we haven't released because it wasn't the right time. And you know, you got to look at the time period too. Record labels didn't want us. You know,
That's interesting. Yeah, because you guys, I mean, weren't you kind of considered alternative, which was the cool thing at the time in the 90s? Even though you started in the 80s, you weren't like an 80s, weren't like synth pop or anything.
no, we never followed that trend. We never followed any trends. It was just bad luck, I suppose, and bad management. And, you know, and then time just kept moving on. And, you know, we just did whatever we had to survive. And we kept touring. And that's it. You know, that's pretty much it. I have 2 solo albums worth of material that I haven't released because, well, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I was raising 3 kids. I ended up getting a day job in 2001 up until last year. So I had to juggle the day job, raise a family, you know, and I just got out. My job got outsourced to India during COVID. So that actually gave me more time to keep working on new material and finding these things, because my day job took up a lot of time. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning. My commute was about 3 hours a day back and forth. I'd get home 7:30 at night. So luckily I was able to tour. I had 6 weeks vacation. I could use that to tour. And, you know, like that. I just, you know, we recorded, I think, 7 albums while I was working during the day.
Didn't you have to like get in trouble? You almost got in trouble one time though, because you had an offer to tour with Tom Petty, and you're like,
you heard?
That's pretty crazy.
I went above my boss's head and I said, look, I can't miss this opportunity. You know, we were playing hockey arenas. It was, you know, crazy. So I almost got fired for going above my boss's head because my boss's boss was sympathetic to me and my situation. So that was one hurdle I got over, and I'm glad we did it, because how many chances do you get to open for somebody like Tom Petty?
Right. It's just interesting that, yeah, it's like, it seems like there's a gap there between, you know, Tom Petty, like you'd think that would be enough to carry you, but that was just a one-time thing. And then it wasn't enough to have make it a full-time position with the Smithereens at that time.
Right. Well, I needed the health insurance for my kids and just a steady paycheck, because, you know, the gigs we did were, you know, maybe 3 or 4 a month at best, and on weekends. So, yeah, I was tired most of the time. I would take flights back home from like LA or whatever, do 3 shows, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, take the red eye, go into the parking lot at work, change my clothes, and go to work as if nothing happened. And for a long time, people didn't know I was a musician until one day somebody Googled or, you know, found out. But even then, it didn't matter, because, you know, that, like my boss, she never heard of Tom Petty. So that's what scared me. I mean, I insulated in this world. It was in the banking industry, and, you know, these people didn't listen to music. And I worked with people from China, Trinidad, Japan. You know, it was just people working in the industry. And I was just in a cubicle doing my job, and I kept quiet. I even had a sign on my computer that I wrote to myself, a note saying, "Don't be yourself at work." One of them was funny. I had a note to myself saying, "Suck it up, cupcake."
Wow.
Because I didn't want to talk about what I did, you know, which is my life. You know, that was just a job to get by.
Did you kind of want a break from the music industry? Is that why you did something totally different? Because you probably could have found something, a producer job or some sort of job in the music industry. No,
I tried I tried that. I tried everything. And the only reason I got this job is because my neighbor living across the street was the senior VP of this company, and he was in the World Trade Center when it was hit. He was on the 46th floor. He made it out alive. And
how did he get out?
he walked down this 46 flights of stairs before the building collapsed. And he was walking his dog in October. That's actually when I got this job. It was a month after 9/11. And I was joking to him. I said, I think, I should get a job because, there aren't that many shows and gigs. And he said, I got something for you. And I said, wait a minute, I don't know anything about banking. He says, don't worry about it, you'll learn. So I started filing and all this stuff. And then he gave me a position. And I kind of stayed there and kept my ass low to the ground, kind of quiet about it, just did my job, went home and did what I had to do. So the only reason I got that job, I had a fake resume, it was just some bullshit just to get in, because
you didn't play guitarist for the Smithereens and
no, it has nothing to do with that. He it was just, he knew I'd be a good worker, and that's all I needed. He needed to know, because he knew me for a few years at that point. I moved here in 1993. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, it's all who you know in life, to give you a break, I call it yeah.
No, I was just wondering, because, you had the sign that said, don't be yourself at work. Like, I had a job like that for 17 years. Believe it or not, I was a guidance counselor. And to me, it just felt like, I think I was kind of the same way, where I was like, I couldn't be myself. And eventually that kind of sucked my soul. Did you have that kind of thing going on where you just felt like it was a soul sucking thing? Or was it a thing where you could just do your work and everybody left you alone and then you just leave and then you could be yourself?
It was totally soul sucking. If I had to just do that for a living, I don't know, man. Well, that's why I had that sign, "Suck It Up, Cupcake," because I'm there for a purpose. I'm providing for my family. And I just had to do what I had to do, and in the meantime, like I said, I recorded all that solo material, recorded albums for the Smithereens, toured. So I did everything all under that. But I think what made it work was I did have some good coworkers, that were really, really nice. And they helped me out when I needed help with some computer stuff that I didn't get. And there were some people there that I was grateful for. And I still keep in touch with them. So when they downsized me, they gave me a year's severance and a year's health insurance. And so that all worked out, because I'm going on Medicare and I'm turning 65 in 2 months. So I'll have the health insurance taken care of and move on. It's the continuation of life.
So now you can just focus on music full time?
Absolutely. And coffee. I started a coffee company 5 years ago, and it's called Babjak's Coffee with an X. And what I was going to do back then, after my wife passed away, I was going to open up a coffee shop that sold vinyl records. I thought it might be a cool thing to do, because I used to own a records store from 1980 to 1988. And I sold that, because we were on tour with the second album, Green Thoughts, and I just, couldn't deal with owning a business at the time. And but then I gave that up, and now so I started it 5 years ago, but I've just started selling it online 2 months ago. It took that long for me to get everything together. So anyway, it's a side hustle that I have, and I love coffee. So,
is that a pretty easy thing to start up? It seems like a lot of musicians have either a hot sauce or a coffee.
That's funny. No, I have a friend who's a roaster for a long time. And we were joking around one day, and I said, can you infuse bourbon into coffee to see what that tastes like? And we actually tried that. But anyway, he's got one infused with rum called Highland Grog. I call it Highland Grog. that's really good. So that's what started it. I said, you know what, I should probably bag this and sell it. So right now I just have a morning blend, a dark roast, and then I'm going to expand to decaf and whole bean and all that. But it's just a fun project.
So if it's infused with the alcohol, it doesn't get you drunk though, right? Or
no, it's just the flavoring.
Okay.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, there's professionals that do that. I don't actually pick the beans myself. I don't go down to South America.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard they work under harsh conditions. I don't know.
Well, apparently not where I get it from.
Oh, that's good.
I did ask about that.
That's like a thing. Like there's so many things like that we don't know anything about, that it's like these things that people kind of just don't, like, wink, wink. We don't talk about that. Like how your iPhone was built and your Nike shoes, and we just don't talk about that, but everybody owns those things. So I don't know.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, there you go.
Sorry, it just took a dark turn on this interview.
We sure did. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Let's go back to the album. So the Lost album, the new song, the first single, which is out now, I believe, is called Out of This World. Yeah. And I mean, you can tell listening to this album, it's like, it's almost, I hope this isn't offensive, but it's like, it's in a way, to me, it's like nostalgic, because it sounds like the 90s. Like if you like that 90s sound, I mean, it's like, it takes you right back there. It kind of made me think like some of the songs like Dear Abby. I mean, I feel like that could have been on a soundtrack to like a 90s rom-com or something.
Yeah. Yeah. True. It's really, I don't know how to describe it. It's a time capsule of what we sounded like then. And, and now I'm working on songs with Robin Wilson from Gin Blossoms and Marshall Crenshaw. And we're hoping to put out a new original album maybe next year of brand new material. So we've been working on that. I started during COVID working on songs with them, and it's going to be a gas, it's going to be great.
That's really cool. Yeah, I had Robin on the show a long time ago. He's from Arizona here where I reside now, and he's so talented. We saw the Gin Blossoms in Vegas. They still sound great. And so I think you guys are coming to Tempe in next month or something. So, and that'll be with Robin.
Yeah, October 21st. Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents live in Arizona, so it'll be good to see them.
Yeah, good time to visit in October. So some of the shows are with Robin and some with Marshall. So then if you're saying if you do the album, it'll be the same, like half and half?
Well, yeah, sort of half and half. Depends on who gets what or who wants to be involved with which songs. But I've already got like 6 with Robin. So, and we're working with Marshall on a couple of songs.
Okay.
So it'll be, yeah. I mean, I'm writing so much now that I could safely say there's probably 2 albums worth of material. So it's kind of scary, because what do? You pick the best ones, or what you think is the best ones for the first album, or save some for the second album. I'm not a good judge of that, because even when our first album came out, I didn't know Blood and Roses would do what it did. We had no idea. So as an artist or a creator, you actually don't know what's going to work. It's tricky.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the Blood and Roses, that song, I didn't realize that song was about a girl that took her own life. Is that what happened? Is that what it was about?
Contemplating suicide. Yeah.
Contemplating. Okay. Yeah, that's a catchy little tune though.
I thought so at the time, but it was just an album cut. And but here's where fate and luck and all that, the stars were aligned. It ended up in a movie. And then in the end credits, and then MTV, they had a video for the movie. And then after the movie ran its course, they edited out the movie scenes and left us in there, and it just snowballed. And it's just luck. That's all it is. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say the movie thing, like you guys have had a lot of cool soundtrack appearances, like the Miami Vice show, and then Bull Durham and Backdraft and Encino Man. And tell the story though about A Girl Like You originally was supposed to be in a Cameron Crowe, or Say Anything, the Cameron Crowe movie. and then it didn't happen because the song gave away too much of the plot. Is that the story?
Yeah, Pat got the script for the movie from Cameron, and yeah, I'll say anything, right? It's from the movie, but yeah, he did follow the script in the lyrics to the song, and Cameron didn't want that, so he loved the song, but he couldn't use it. So ultimately, it just didn't make the cut. So, but I'm kind of glad because it was a hit single for us.
Yeah, it went on to success anyway. So it's interesting that he wouldn't maybe do use a different song from you guys or something.
No, I think they pretty much had the rest of that stuff. And the funny thing is, our manager at the time was also Madonna's manager, Freddie DeMann. And Madonna was slated to sing the female vocal on that, but she backed out at that day that she was supposed to come in. For whatever reason, she backed out. I don't know the true story. I heard that she had a fight with Warren Beatty that morning, but I think that's a bunch of bullshit. She just probably didn't, want to be involved with us. I don't know. But we thought it'd be kind of strange because it was so left field. And we like to throw curveballs at people. So, that would have been interesting to have Madonna on one of our songs, being that we were total opposites. We were, alternative, and she was top 40.
Right. Well, yeah, because you've had some good guests, Lou Reed, Susan Vega, Belinda Carlisle. I mean, those are all big names.
Well, Lou Reed, yeah, that was really special. That's you get a lot of street cred with that one.
Well, yeah. And speaking of street cred, I just read this today when I was looking at the PR release. It said Kurt Cobain was a big fan of you guys and influenced by you. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. We did a Christmas single with Butch. Butch Vig was supposed to produce our next album for Capitol back in 1993, but because we got dropped from Capitol, he didn't end up working with us. But we did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a promo single for Capitol, one of the last things we did for them before they dropped us. And Butch Vig produced it, and he was telling us how when they were recording Nevermind, they were A-Bing my guitar sound, trying to get my guitar sound, which I thought was pretty cool. I never heard that before. And then I heard stories from everybody else saying that, Kurt Cobain couldn't stop talking about us. And then it's in his book that we were a big influence. He loved the first couple albums. I wish I got to meet him, but that never happened. Also, I found out that Don Dixon, the producer of our first two albums, Kurt Cobain approached him to produce Nevermind. And Don Dixon still kicks himself in the ass for declining.
Right. Oh my God. Wow.
Can you imagine? It would have made him a millionaire overnight.
Wow.
And yeah, funny.
Why did he decline it? He just didn't think it had, did he listen to it even, or?
I don't know the details, but I guess he was either too busy or whatever. Well, he declined with us too, at first, but he was doing a show at Folk City, an acoustic show, and we kind of just all showed up and said, you have to produce our next record. We just went there and showed up at the gig and kind of forced them to work with us.
Why did you guys pick him? What is there something else that he had done that you were a fan of, or?
Well, he was an engineer on the first two REM records. And we liked his solo stuff. And from what we read, he was a very nice person, great to work with. So, and it turned out to be true. We'll probably use him again for this next album. And we did work with him on the 2011 album again. And the Gin Blossoms did an album with him. Marshall Crenshaw did an album with him. So we all know him. And I think he's a perfect fit.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the story of you guys getting signed is really interesting too, how it took 6 years. And then wasn't it somebody, it's kind of like you said earlier, like it's who you know. This is like somebody kind of went to bat for you that had heard you either from college radio or saw you live. and said we should sign these guys, and that's what it took. Because you had already sent out your demos and everything to every record label, and everyone turned you down.
I have a stack of rejection letters. I see recently on YouTube people are posting, like U2 posted their rejection letter from I don't know what label, and so people are doing that. But yeah, we got rejected by everybody. And there was a former college DJ that heard one of our independent records from 1983 that was working for Enigma Records, the initial record company that signed us for the first album. Out of a box of hundreds of tapes, he saw our name and thought he would listen to it. And on that tape that we sent to everybody was Blood and Roses and Behind the Wall Sleep. What you're hearing pretty much now is what was rejected, our first two singles that went through the roof. So, you hear stories about these record company people that just, they didn't see it as being anything. But like I told you earlier, I didn't know Blood and Roses was going to be, what it was.
Right. It's so interesting it's so hard to predict what people are going to like and why. And like you said, maybe the Blood and Roses, maybe it was because of that movie that it was in or whatever. It's like, you just never know. Maybe it's a commercial that somebody hears the song too. And there's all sorts of weird things like that where, what was it? Lizzo's song that was like, she had put it out, nobody cared, and then it was in some Netflix movie, and then it just took off after that. It was just totally random.
It's the power of the media and mass marketing and or whatever,
Yeah.
And it snowballed.
Yeah. That's a big piece of it, is how it's marketed. It doesn't necessarily, maybe not necessarily movie or TV or commercials, but somehow they've got to market it so that people find it. But you guys have so many fans that are like the Kurt Cobains and Tom Petty. He personally wanted you guys on the tour. And then was Bruce Springsteen also a fan too, I heard?
I met him. Well, we did a benefit for 9/11 victims here. And, we did a show with him for 2 days. I saw him at the airport a couple of years ago. We were in the lounges before you go on the plane. And, we talked for about an hour and a half about family and just careers and stuff. And I wouldn't say we're friends, more acquaintances. We've worked together before, but and he doesn't live that far from me, but he never calls.
Is he pretty down to earth though? Like, is there some sort of magic quality you see with him, or does he just seem like a regular guy who just is very successful?
He tries very hard to be a regular guy. Like he'll go to his local gym or just pop up in a bar or something and have some beers with people. And, he tries to be a regular guy, but he's not, obviously. And if you go to he's probably got 24/7 security at his house. So, it is what it is,
Yeah. Do you were able to have this job and nobody recognized you, but there has to be times where you're at the airport or at a show or somewhere, having coffee, and people recognize you. Does that happen?
Yeah. But not like on that level. No,
nobody's on that level. Yeah.
No. Yeah, it occasionally happens. And then there was a time where I was really depressed about working my day job, and somebody recognized me at the airport one time. And I said, yeah, it's great to be considered one of the greatest underrated bands or some shit like that. I was being an asshole.
No, but that is cool. I mean, it's just sad though that you had to get a day job, like, because you're so talented. It seems like that's your gift in this world, is music. And I'm glad that now you can focus on it fully again, because it seems like it's such a waste for you to be working at a bank. You should definitely be doing something with music.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
Just the harsh reality of the music business is what I've learned from doing these interviews.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know, and it was better to keep it quiet, for a while. But, I guess now I could talk about it because, you when you meet people, they think you're a wealthy rock star and this and that, and it's like that's not the reality,
Right, because I know like the bands always owe the record companies money, but how does that work? Do you still get royalty checks too, or does it all just go straight to the record company until it's paid off?
Now, I'll give you an example. Like our Smithereens 11 and Smithereens Blow Up, the budgets for those records to record back then was like $350,000 per album. And then, like, let's say each album had about 4 videos, at least 50 grand each. And there was one video we did for A Girl Like You that was rejected by MTV, and that cost $100,000. So that all has to get paid back before we get a penny. So you think about this, we sure the records went gold, and they, we probably sold like 4 million records for Capitol, but no, we didn't get any of that money because of the cost of everything. And then we also didn't know that every time they took us out to dinner or hired a limousine to pick us up to go to the Jay Leno show and et cetera, all that stuff got charged back to us. And so, yeah, no, the money we made was from touring, just from going on the road and busting our asses.
And that's still how you'll make money going forward, and now you get a bigger piece of the pie because you don't have a record company, right?
Well, if we sell 10,000 copies of this record, it's a big hit. Being that there's no real record company involved, our manager, his record label is putting out this Lost album, so there's no real middleman per se. And we own the masters, and we already paid for the recording of it. So, what are you going to make? You're going to make some grocery money. But it's not about that. We have a passion for music, and it's not about the money anymore. We'll go out and work, and keep touring, keep paying our dues, as they say in the music business.
Yeah. Well, the shows, I mean, that's going to be touring, and then are you going to try to get, I think I saw you guys are you doing one of the cruises? Cause I think like that's like the cruises and the festivals seem like they pay really well. Those are kind of good gigs to have. It seemed fun too.
Yeah. It pays well, but I got to be on a boat for 7 days, So if you work it out like that, no, we're not getting paid as much as we would for a standalone gig. If we did 7 gigs in a row, or whatever, no, it doesn't match that. But I'm looking at it as a vacation and just a fun time. And it's great meeting fans and taking pictures and all that stuff, and them telling us their stories about the first time they saw us and this and that. And it's really endearing. It's really great.
Do you have a lot of those kinds of stories where people say like one of the songs changed their lives or something like that?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Even before social media, we used to get fan mail, letters to P.O. Box, and people saying how they were depressed and how the songs helped them from preventing suicide. I got a few of those letters. So that's pretty deep, that and the power of music, where it can help people with their personal problems and stuff, and how they interpret songs. It's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, no, I love, that's why I say like, that's what your gift is to this world, is playing the music. So I'm glad you're doing it again. I like this new album. It's good stuff. Like I said, it's very nostalgic. I think we talked about most of the songs. Oh, you know what I thought was kind of a fun song on the new album was the Monkey Man. Tell me about that one, because I love that guitar riff. That seems like it'd be a fun riff to play.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Rolling Stones kind of riff. To me, it sounded like something Keith Richards would have done. I don't know. Pat and Mike Hamilton, our sound man at the time, were most involved with that one, writing the lyrics to that. It was about rolling with the punches, kind of like at that time, we were dropped by the label, and it's a phrase that we use. It's like you got to roll with the punches, suck it up, cupcake, kind of the same thing, And then don't bring me down. That one, stop bringing me down. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a heavy riff. It's almost like a Black Sabbath kind of thing.
Yeah, and Pat was really into Black Sabbath, and that was back then. I was contemplating getting a job, so the song is about a musician that's down and out and having to get a job stocking the shelves, and your boss, telling you, hey, stop fucking around and load the shelves, and then at the end of the song, it's like, someday I'll be back and better than ever. So it was kind of uplifting for us to write about stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, people can check out, when does this full album drop?
Today or yesterday? Today.
Oh,
today.
Okay. Today.
Today.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So it should be out now. The whole album's out. Great. Yeah. Cause I listened to it and it sounds great. And then I always end each episode with it promoting a charity. Is there a charity you want to promote here at the end?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I started a memorial fund in my wife's name. It's the Betty Babjak Memorial Fund. It's on my website, jimbabjak.com. And it provides scholarships every year to kids going to Rutgers University, because that's where my late wife went to school, and two of my kids went to school there. And it's a scholarship fund. I started it after she passed away, and they could find that information on my website.
Yeah, I'll put your website and I'll put that link in the show notes, and then people can check out the new album. I'm sure it's on all the streaming platforms. Can people order a physical copy, like a CD or vinyl?
Yeah, we're not going to get it on our site for a while, because right now it's on Amazon and some other sites. And I heard Amazon's been telling people that they're not going to get it till October or something, but I think that's wrong.
Okay.
I think their algorithms or something, because they did sell a lot of them a pre-order. But it's going to be replenished very soon. So yeah, I guess the best bet would be Amazon right now, and who else? Walmart.com or something like that.
Okay.
And I think even Tower Records might. And then your local record shops. I think local independent record shops will probably carry it.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I look forward to even more new music, and if I can, I'll try to come see that show. I think it's at the Marquee, but I know you guys are doing shows. You have dates, so people can check the website for current dates on that as well. And okay, thank you so much, Jim. Anything else?
Well, we got the rights back to our Christmas album from 2007, and we're reissuing that on vinyl. I just got it in. It's on green vinyl. It's really cool, and I'm releasing a Christmas 45 on vinyl called "It's Love on Christmas Day," and that's something I recorded back in 1995, and I'm just putting it out now because of life getting in the way. But there's a lot of material we're gonna put out now.
Okay, well, I'm excited to look forward to more of that, and I'm sure all your fans do as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, thanks for the time and everything. Thanks.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks again to Jim Babjak from the Smithereens. The latest album is called The Lost Album. It sounds like there will be more new music from the Smithereens and Jim, so make sure to follow the band on social media, stay up to date. And if you want to support my little show here, that's a great way to do it. Follow us on social media. Your likes, shares, comments, all that stuff really help us out and helps grow the show so that we can get great guests like Jim and some other exciting guests that we have lined up that I don't want to spoil yet. And also, make sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you'll be up to date with future episodes. Thank you so much. Have a great day and shoot for the moon.